Halloween can be one of the trickiest times of the year for children with food allergies. Halloween treats can have allergens, and even just a little could set off a life-threatening reaction. Allergist and pediatrician Dr. Reena Mehta is here to help kids and their parents navigate the season. Good morning.
Good morning. Thank you for having me.
Thank you for being here. This is a really tough time for parents because kids, of course, they want to go out and trick or treat. They want to get the same candy as their friends. But if you have a food allergy, it really could be deadly.
It's terrifying. It can be one of the scariest holidays for families with food allergies. And food allergies are very common. 1 in 13 children under the age of 18 have an underlying food allergy. So if you think about it, that's 2 kids per every classroom.
Wow.
So it's a lot and affects a lot of people.
We often hear about peanut allergy. That's very common. What are some of the other common allergies that could also be associated with Halloween candy?
Sure. So 90% of the time, if somebody has a food allergy, it's one of these foods. So it's peanut, tree nut, so that's things like almonds, cashews, hazelnuts, sesame, which is things that are like in hummus and things like that. Oh. Milk is a big one.
Yeah.
Egg. And then some of the less common things you wouldn't see in food is like fish and shellfish.
Gotcha. Okay, so what do? You know, you want to give out candy to the neighborhood kids, but you obviously don't want to harm anyone with
Right,
allergies.
so I have kind of tips for what to do for your kids with food allergies and tips on what to do if you're just trying to protect, other children. So if you're trying to protect other children, there's a beautiful campaign called the Teal Pumpkin Awareness Project, where you can get a teal pumpkin or even paint a teal pumpkin and put it outside of your door to show that you are going to provide non-food treats. So that may be things like stickers, markers, bubbles, little things that they can play with and still have a good time, but parents don't have to worry about food.
Yes,
exactly.
That's a great idea. I've seen those teal pumpkins around at different places.
You can get them at a lot of different stores, or you can even paint them yourself.
Okay, so that's what you do if you're giving out candy. What if you're the parent of a child with allergies?
So I have a few tips from the American Academy of Pediatrics that if you have a child with food allergy, here's some things to consider. So read labels carefully. So when they're all backed together in one bag, sometimes it's hard to know and there's cross-contamination. So read labels very carefully because you can never be too sure.
Okay.
Number 2, think about having a candy swap. So you go out and you get a bunch of candy and then you come home and maybe swap it out with your kids. The treat fairy came today and maybe give them some non-treat items and then take the candy.
Okay.
Number 3, I always call it BYOP, bring your own pumpkin. So get one of those jack-o'-lanterns and fill it up with treats that are safe, and then keep your EpiPen in there too. And so as you're trick-or-treating, you can have some snacks to give them that you feel comfortable that they can have.
Okay.
Number 4, get creative with costumes. So if you're worried about touching potential allergens, then maybe make a costume with gloves on it or something like that so you don't have to worry about touching allergens. And if Halloween still has you spooked out, then think about making new traditions. So maybe do a Halloween scavenger hunt, maybe have a party at your house where you're comfortable. And there's other things that you can do to still celebrate Halloween and keep your little ones with food allergies still feeling included.
Because you were saying even if you go to somebody's house and your child picks up some candy that appears to be safe, does not contain the actual allergy, if that candy has touched another piece of candy that had something in it like peanut or dairy, that could hurt the child.
It's possible. The risk of cross-contamination is high, especially at Halloween when things are touching everywhere. People are having parties. No one really knows what's been placed anywhere, so you can never be too safe. So I always tell parents, never let your child go trick-or-treating alone, and always keep your self-injectable epinephrine on hand in case of an emergency. And it's also a good idea to keep your cell phone charged in case of an emergency and tell other parents around you exactly what your child's allergens are and what they can do to keep your child safe as well.
And there are some candies that are super safe for kids with allergies.
Exactly.
You said you actually give them out every year.
Exactly. So if you're still looking to hand out candy because it's part of the tradition, then try things like Skittles, Starburst, Swedish Fish, Sour Patch Kids. Those are all considered to be allergy safe. And if you read the labels on the back of the bag, it will say that.
That's a great idea. So just go with those candies.
Exactly.